lot of areas are undeveloped, which is fine because it's sand. Welcome to the Real Estate and Mind podcast, Dubai. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the buying process for a real estate property in Dubai on the secondary market and on the primary market. We get a lot of questions from buyers, from clients, from friends. How do I buy? Is it simple? For foreign investors and domestic investors, and then end users as well. So today we're going to go over the process and hopefully we answer any questions that you guys have. So first of all, who can buy a property in Dubai?
Anybody can buy a property in Dubai.
Do you need to be resident in Dubai to buy a property? Do you need to live here?
No, you don't need to be a resident. You can buy and rent out a property in Dubai, no problem.
Do you need to come to Dubai at any point during the process?
No, you can hire a POA.
A POA is a power of attorney, which is basically somebody that you've authorized to make legal decisions for you. So it's a very important role. Do not appoint your enemy as your POA.
Okay, so we hear a lot of terms in the real estate market. Let's go over some of the terminologies that we hear. The first one is title deed.
A title deed is the ownership document for a property. Basically, it's got the owner or the owner's names and the property. People in the UK and Ireland might think of it as the logbook for the property.
What's an Okud?
Okud is basically a title deed for something that isn't constructed yet. It's ownership for land.
What's an NOC?
NOC is non-objection certificate. And this gets involved when a seller is selling his property. He will apply for an NOC to the developer. And this is basically saying that the developer does not object to them selling their property.
What's a Form A, B, and F?
These are the only three forms you need to worry about when it comes to real estate in Dubai. A Form A is between the agent, the seller, it has the property and the price, and we use that for marketing also. A Form B is between the agent, the buyer, it has the property and the price, and we use that when we're going to buy a property. And then a Form F is a unified contract with a Form A and a Form B. It has the buyer, the seller, the property, and the price, and that is a legally binding contract. That's how we purchase a property in Dubai.
What are service charges?
Service charges relate to all properties in Dubai. They're charged for the upkeep of the property, so cleaning, upkeep of the swimming pool, the amenities, everything to do with the upkeep of a property. They're a little bit cheaper on villas and townhouses than they are on apartments. And of course, depending on the area, service charges in the Burj Khalifa downtown are going to be more expensive than a tower in JVC. They're priced per square foot and they're usually paid quarterly.
What is a liability letter?
Liability letter comes into play when a mortgage seller is selling his property. He doesn't have full equity in the property, so the bank will give him a liability letter, and this states how much liability is left on the property. So basically, it tells the buyer how much he needs to address to the bank and how much he needs to address to the seller in terms of the payment.
And what's a 10% deposit check?
10% deposit check is how we initiate the purchase of a property in Dubai. The 10% deposit check is a check for 10% of the value of your offer. If the seller accepts the offer, the agent will hold the 10% deposit check for the duration of the transaction. And when you get your title deed and the property is transferred to you, you'll get your 10% check back.
And I keep hearing this pro rata. What is that?
Pro rata is a refund process. So if I buy a property now and the service charges are paid till September, but the property transfers to me in May, I will refund the seller the service charges from when I owned it until September. Why should he pay the service charges? He doesn't own it anymore. And it works the other way around with rent. So again, if the property is transferred to me now in May and the rental contract ends in September, I will get a refund from the seller for the amount of rent for that time.
And what is the secondary market?
The secondary market in Dubai relates to individual sellers. So anybody that owns a property, whether it's secondary, whether it's finished, or whether it's off plan, if they're selling it, it's on the secondary market.
And what is the primary market?
Primary market relates to developer sales. So whether it's just been handed over or whether it's off plan, if you're buying it from a developer, it's on the primary market.
And what's a mortgage?
A mortgage is a loan for a home, basically. We all know what a mortgage is. In Dubai, typical rates are around 5%, and terms vary, and there's different terms and conditions with different banks, but it's a loan to get a property.
And what are visas?
Visas obviously are the document that allows you to have residency in a country, but it comes into Dubai real estate market because depending how much money you invest in a property in Dubai, you could be eligible for a visa.
Okay. Okay, I got you. So now I want to buy a property. What are the first steps that I have to go through?
So in order to buy a property in Dubai, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go online to the portals. So Bayut, Property Finder, Hausa, maybe your neighbor selling his property, maybe you've been recommended with an agent. The point is you need to go and look at properties and view them and see what you want. Have a chat with your agent. Once you find a property that you think you would like to invest in, you will give a 10% deposit check to the agent. The agent will then present that check to the seller. If the seller accepts the offer, he will hold on to that check for the duration of the transaction. So if all is going ahead and the seller accepts the offer, we will then do a Form A, a Form B, and a Form F. A Form A is between the agent and the seller, and it will have the property and the price. A Form B is between the agent and the buyer. It will have the property and the price. And a Form F will be both of them contracts unified, and it's a legally binding agreement to purchase the property. So once we have the Form F signed between the buyer, the seller, with the property and the price and the extra terms and conditions, the seller will get an NOC from the developer, basically saying that Emar, for instance, does not mind that this gentleman is going to sell his property. Once we have the NOC, we will book the trustee office. We will go and we will transfer the property. So the DLD will take the Form F, they will take the NOC, they will pay the seller his money, and they will give the buyer his title deed. You have now bought the property. So that is a basic rundown of how to buy a property on the secondary market in Dubai. Obviously, there are some extra clauses and different circumstances, whether a mortgage is involved. So let's say if it's a cash buyer, he has full cash and the seller has full equity in the property. What way would that happen?
Then it's simple. It's just exactly how you described it.
Okay, and what if the buyer is a mortgage buyer? He wants to get a mortgage, but the seller has full equity in the property.
In that case, the first thing the buyer has to do is go to the bank and say, I'm earning this much, I have this much saved, what am I eligible for? And that is called a pre-approval.
Okay, so the buyer has his pre-approval, he has viewed properties, he has given a 10% deposit check, a Form F has been signed, so now we get the NOC and transfer the property, right?
No. Before getting the NOC, this buyer has to get the property valued.
Why?
Because the bank is only going to provide you financing for what they think is the worth of the property.
So what if the property is undervalued?
That's a you problem, bro.
At least that's what the bank will tell you. So you have two options. If the property is undervalued, so let's say the property costs 1 million and the bank valued it at 950,000, you can add that 50,000 yourself if you have it, or you can back out of the deal and you won't forfeit your 10% deposit check, which is the only circumstance in an MOU where you can do so. Okay, so we got our pre-approval. We viewed properties. We put a 10% offer check. The seller has accepted it. We signed the Form A, the Form B, the Form F. We got the property valued. We got the NOC. Now we do the transfer?
Yes.
Fantastic. So what if I have full cash? I don't need to get a mortgage. I'm the buyer. But the seller has an outstanding mortgage.
Okay, in this case, the first thing the seller has to do is get an NOC, but at the same time, he has to apply for what is called a liability letter. A liability letter states that how much is owed to the bank.
Okay, so we get the liability letter, and now I know how much I need to write on a check to the bank and how much I need to write on a check to the seller. So then we get the NOC and we book the trustee office.
Yes, but no. First, we have to go to the trustee office and go block the property because the banks have to be paid first. So the DLD, which is the Dubai Land Department, will make sure that the banks get paid first. Then the banks will issue a clearance certificate, and then we can go and transfer the property.
Okay, so we did our viewing, we put our deposit, we signed our Form Fs, we've got our liability letter and our NOC. So we've booked the trustee office, but rather than transfer, we're going to block the property, which basically means the bank is going to get paid, and a couple of weeks later, once they give us a clearance letter, we can transfer the property, the agent gets paid, the seller gets paid, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So lastly, what if the buyer wants to get a mortgage, but the seller also has an outstanding mortgage? This sounds complicated.
No, it's really simple. First, the buyer gets a pre-approval, and then he views properties. The third thing is he puts in the deposit check, the forms are signed, the seller applies for the NOC and gets the liability letter. Then we go to the trustee office to block the property. And then once the clearance letter is issued, then we can go for the transfer.
Okay, so it sounds complicated, but it's actually a pretty simple process. So we all know that life is full of hidden fees, and buying a property in Dubai is no different. So the charges for buying any property in Dubai are as follows. First, you have the purchase price of the property.
It's obviously the price that you and the seller have agreed to, and it's paid in manager's check.
A manager's check is a check from the bank, which is unbounceable basically. It costs a couple of hundred dirham to get it. So next, we have the 4% DLD fee.
It's a 4% fee paid to the Dubai Land Department to register the property under your name.
2% agency plus VAT.
An agent's got to eat.
Fair enough. And VAT is payable because in Dubai it's tax-free, but VAT is applicable on services, and the agent is providing a service, so there's 5% VAT applicable on that. Next up, we have 4,200 trustee office.
It's the cost of attending the trustee office to transfer the property, and it's always been paid by the buyer.
Okay, 580 dirhams for a title deed.
I mean, you need your documents, right? So 580.
Okay, and this last one that I keep hearing about is sales progression. It's costing between 4 to 6,000 AED. What is that?
It's a fee charged by the agency. It's paid by the seller and the buyer, and it's worth every penny.
Sales progression professionals usually have contacts within the banks, the developers, and the DLD itself. They can help the process run super smoothly, and it's worth absolutely every penny. That is an overview of a real estate transaction in the secondary market in Dubai. If you guys have any questions or comments or want to reach out to us directly for more information, leave a comment below.
Now, let's talk about the primary market.
Yes, let's speak about off-plan in particular, which is basically projects that are about to be launched or projects that are under construction at the moment. Dubai has a massive number of developers that are constantly launching new projects in order to meet supply and demand.
All types of projects ranging from townhouses to luxury villas and from apartments to super luxury penthouse. Dubai has something for everyone.
They do. And purchasing from the developer is super straightforward. Developers accept all forms of payment and even cryptocurrency in some situations. However, there are some factors you need to consider when you're considering an off-plan purchase.
The first thing is the developer itself.
You need to check the track record of the developer, their previous communities, their previous projects, their record for delivering on time, their quality of building that they're handing over, and then of course their vision for the future.
Next is the type of project.
Yes, from affordable townhouses up to luxury villas and penthouses. You need to check supply and demand. If you're an end user, you probably know what you want already if you're looking for a townhouse in a nice community with your family. But if you're looking to invest, again, supply and demand is going to play a big role into it. You need to see what the future of Dubai is and what's the best type of property to invest in at this time.
And how important is the location?
Location is probably the most crucial factor when deciding what to invest in Dubai. Everything is about location. You need to make sure that you look at the future of Dubai. A lot of areas are underdeveloped at the moment, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad investment. It means that it has massive potential for the future. So again, look at the success of previous areas and look at what's up and coming in newer areas, because a lot of the time that's where most of the potential lies.
And what about agents or advisors?
Again, this is super crucial. You need to work with somebody who has a proven track record in success and delivering for clients, someone with integrity that you trust. If you go to a developer's office, the agents there are doing their job. They're going to push. An EMAR agent is going to push EMAR projects. The MAC agent is going to push the MAC projects. And they're not wrong, but you need to work with somebody who is neutral, who has your best interests at heart, and is going to basically look at the whole market for you and see what options suit you best.
With the right off-plan investment, you can do exceptionally well in the Dubai's real estate market. You can resell your off-plan investment if you have paid up to 30 or 40% depending on the developer. You can make a healthy profit, especially if the project has been sold out.
Yes, but you also need to be aware that handovers can be delayed. So you need to have the full price of the property to hand in case the market drops or resale is difficult. Again, the purchase process is super straightforward. And although the agency fee is waived, the 4% DLD fee is still applicable to off-plan purchases. So let's recap on everything we've talked about. The secondary market. The pros of the secondary market are the property is ready. You can get a cash flow immediately. It's in an established community 90% of the time with a proven track record. The price can be a little bit more negotiable because obviously you're dealing with an individual and not a developer. Sometimes you get distress deals depending on people's personal circumstances. And there's a lot more availability in the market usually for secondary.
Yeah, but the cons are the designs are old, there's no interest-free payment plan, and Some of the times the properties are like in a very bad condition and you have to refurbish it, so that's an extra cost for you. On the other hand, the pros of the primary market are it's brand new, it's newer design, higher potential for capital gains, interest-free payment plan, and no agency fee.
Yes, but the cons of primary will be it's not built yet. So essentially you're buying sand. So you do need to have a little bit of vision about the future of the project, and you need to trust in the agent that you're buying it with. Second, while it does have a higher potential for capital gains as opposed to secondary market of the same quality in the same area, this is speculation. So you do need to have the full price of the property to hand just in case anything happens. And third, handover can be delayed, and sometimes it is. So you need to be aware of this, and you need to plan accordingly that the project might not come exactly when it's supposed to. So once you're aware of these factors, off-plan can be an absolutely brilliant and very lucrative investment. With all of this information that we've given you, you may be thinking to yourself, so what is better to buy? What do I invest in right now in Dubai? And this isn't the question you should be asking.
The right question that you should be asking is, who should I work with when it comes to my investment in Dubai?
Property investment in Dubai can be super lucrative, but you need to work with a trustworthy professional who has a proven track record in delivering results and who has your best interests at heart.
Make sure to like and subscribe. And if you don't like the video, at least share it with your enemy.
That's it from us at the Real Estate of Mind podcast. We'll catch you guys next time.
It's the best podcast.